And we're live. It's season 1, episode 1, the pilot. Delivery Made Easy with CTT. We got two great guests today. We got Tod Erickson, IT Director with the New Hampshire Union Leader, and Jason Fry with RouteSmart.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Jeff.
Hey.
Morning, Tod. Morning, Jason.
Happy to be here.
All right. Let's dive right in. We wanted to talk about, why, from a newspaper point of view, why the combination of RouteSmart and CarrierTrack. Tod, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Well, I think first thing to sort of touch on is the two products, RouteSmart and CarrierTrack, work seamlessly together. You can't have one without the other and really have it work the way that we at the Union Leader have done it. So the two products each have their core competencies, but together they just make the perfect solution for delivery tracking and all the things that go with that, namely driving down complaints, better customer service, better visibility into the delivery process, better auditing of the delivery process. And then that's on the CarrierTrack side. On the RouteSmart side, the ability to optimize and customize your routes and your pinning of your delivery location. So once that data comes out of your circulation system, RouteSmart has its role, which is clearly defined, and then feeds that right into CarrierTrack. So the two together really form a complete solution for any newspaper or daily, delivery of a daily publication to be able to have full visibility end to end in your circulation system. And the first thing when we looked at it, and also talking to other papers as well, the whole sort of initial pitch of doing something like this is on the vendor side for RouteSmart and CarrierTrack is, hey, we want to be able to automate your delivery process, give you better visibility, auditing, route planning, sequencing, all that kind of stuff. And as both of you know, the newspaper business has gone through a lot of change in the last many years, and it's really a completely different animal than it was even just 5 or 6 years ago. So the real thing that drives every decision on the newspaper end is money, period, end of discussion. It's money, it's customer retention, and it is increasing your subscriber base. Those are the big things. So when we first were looking at the solution on our end, when I looked at it, I said, oh, this is from a tech standpoint. I said, this is great. We have mobile devices that the carriers have. They can go out, make their deliveries. We can send them routes. We can track the progress of those routes, confirm the delivery, all those kind of things to really improve the customer's experience. But the bottom line from a business standpoint is the Union Leader had a big problem with what we call make goods, and that was fixing poor delivery or failed deliveries. And at the height, it was a very, very large number. And so from the business side, our sort of edict from management was, we need to drive this down. And when in our case, and also talking to other papers, when they have all of the niceties of RouteSmart and CarrierTrack, the business folks, their eyes kind of glaze over a little bit, and they're like, well, yeah, that's nice, but it's going to cost me a bunch of money. And then as we dug into it over the last couple of years, CarrierTrack and RouteSmart has saved us tens of thousands of dollars a year, and in some cases, thousands and thousands of dollars every month. And the reason for that is because at our height, our CPM in our worst months in the winter was $12, 13, 14, which is horrid.
Complaints per month? CPM?
Yes, that's complaints per month. Jason, yep. Actually, it's actually the M is a little misleading. It's complaints per thousand.
Oh, per thousand.
Yeah,
Right.
per thousand. Yeah, I don't know why they don't do CPT, but I didn't make it up. So the complaints per thousand in our latest meeting this week was 1.8. And
Awesome.
that number is really, really good and one that we can achieve consistently. So we went from close to 7K a month in make goods at our worst about 3 years ago to now we're at 1.8. We've cut that number by about 85%.
Wow.
So our make goods now are under $1,000 a month.
Wow.
And what I mean by, folks maybe who are on the business side or maybe not as familiar, what we mean by make goods is customer calls in and complains. We have to either A, extend their subscription, B, dispatch a redelivery of that paper, which is becoming less and less of a solution for most of the papers, or we end up having to do some combination of both. And what would usually happen, Jeff, is we would get the complaint, they would credit the customer, and then a redelivery driver would go after that.
Anyways. Yeah.
So we basically doubled it up. So the complaints are driven down. The number of calls that we have coming in have gone down. And more importantly, the old adage, the best customer that you can have, the best customer for you is the one that you already have.
Mhm.
And the cost of a customer acquisition is very high.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very labor intensive. It's very people intensive. It's not like you send out an email blast or you put up an advertisement and the customers are rolling in. No, you have to go back out to that customer and talk to them and say, hey, we've changed things. We're going to do better. And so we're going to, we'd like to get you back. Well, the best thing is they never call in, they never complain, and they're just a happy customer. And that's really, the customer retention has been just a huge, huge thing for us.
That's fantastic news. Todd, talk to us about, and again, this goes back a couple of years.
Yep.
I could get into some stories of how RouteSmart and CarrierTrack kind of came together, but talk about how you take the two of them and integrate them on your end. Because again, RouteSmart doesn't integrate CarrierTrack. CarrierTrack doesn't integrate RouteSmart. We take their feed and display it on our devices, for your carriers.
Right.
So,
correct.
Talk a little bit about the best practices to make that work as smoothly as possible.
Right.
Especially on the getting started side. I think that's the, how do you even get going?
Yeah, good point, Jason. So first thing is that the relatively straightforward part of it, I mean, it's a little heavy lifting at the beginning, but it's pretty straightforward. It's mostly working with your CERC system vendor, whoever that may be, and getting the feed out of your circulation system in a format that we can send to RouteSmart. Now, certain circulation system like Newsware, Brainworks, and all that, they already have the recipe for that. They already have the template for that.
Good.
And Newsware even has a import-export facility specifically geared just for RouteSmart.
Right.
So it's a canned piece that, it's relatively low cost, and then that gets you the feed coming out of your CERC system. Once that happens, there's a couple ways you can go depending on what your needs are. You can either send that feed directly from your CERC system to RouteSmart, or in our case, we need a little bit of data manipulation on the union leader side, because we kind of were an early adopter to a trend that surprisingly to me hasn't gotten more traction sooner, is delivering your single copy store locations with your home delivery.
Mm-hmm.
The old model was home delivery, single copy, and that was it. But from an outsider perspective, on the tech side, we had home delivery people waving to the store delivery person on the way by their
Right.
route. Okay, what's wrong with this picture?
Right.
Okay, so this isn't an efficient way to do it. So what we do, and this is more a limitation of our circ system, is we take those single copy locations and we map them over to the home delivery. So when one of our drivers gets their route for any given day, they have home delivery and they may have 3 or 4 stores blended in along on their route. And the reason we do that is because if we can blend those all together and then send them to RouteSmart, then we can use RouteSmart to route and optimize and pin the location of the delivery in RouteSmart, just like we would a home delivery. So from our perspective, from a system perspective on the RouteSmart side, when our zone managers or our resources are working with a route, there's no difference for us between a single copy and a home delivery. That's exactly what we want. It doesn't matter whether you're dropping a bundle of 10 or one paper. It's the same mechanism, and we want the same level of visibility. Now, once that is done, we make that data manipulation. We have a sort of a go-between. Then we send it off to RouteSmart, and then in RouteSmart, we've learned all of the sort of the processes that RouteSmart follows as they process one of our files. We know the schedule, how the flow works. We know all about the sequencing if we send multiple files. So very easy to get comfortable with that whole process. And our zone managers, when they come in from the field in the morning, it's basically at the end of their day, but the start of our day, they're all in RouteSmart. They're double checking their sequences. They're maybe moving some things around if we had a new customer who started. So they're now very comfortable in there, and they're using RouteSmart to do all of their sequencing and all of their pinning of their locations if we have a new start and it's not in the right place. Or very common thing now, especially in our area, a lot of new developments going in. So we have a lot of roads that maybe aren't fully defined yet. So they're working on that to get those all pinned down. So we spend, if I can sort of approach it this way, during the day to get ready for the delivery cycle, those folks are spending all their time in RouteSmart. After that, once the clock strikes midnight, just like the Gremlins, everything changes, and the carriers then live in CarrierTrack the whole time. Early on, we got the folks who were timid about technology and found it intimidating, and we kept after that. We trained, we worked with them, and now, if you might as well take away their car as take away their phone, because it's the same thing now. They just live and breathe CarrierTrack and RouteSmart, and that's what they use as their tool. So even though the two were never really, were on sort of parallel paths and never crossed over, a couple years ago, as Jeff, you and Jason know, that's when everybody came together and we said, hey, this would be a great thing to do, and we'd like you to try it out. Or we said, hey, we'd like you guys to do this so we can try it out. And that, sort of the rest is history. And it's just gotten more fine-tuned and more refined in the whole process, to the point now where there isn't a question that we can't answer, or a scenario that we have not encountered that we don't have either the solution for, or how you do something, or whatever. So it's really matured into a very robust end-to-end product in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and it's been a fun ride. You're 100% on when you said you kind of I always say you pushed us.
Yeah, agreed.
We RouteSmart and CarrierTrack, we've talked for years at newspaper conferences across the country about, hey, this would be kind of cool if we took this feed and put it into your device. And back then we were not running a sequenced route. CarrierTrack was up and running, but it was random delivery. So whichever way the driver went down a street, it would populate what deliveries were on that street.
Right.
So we didn't have a way to route them through it and make it more efficient on a delivery. It was just really designed for TMC Sunday Select type delivery.
Right.
But we had always knew the capability was there. It was a matter of then, okay, is the market there?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had, I always go back, our CFO, I was at the union leader about 2 months, and she made what I thought at the time, very sort of innocent request. Hey, we'd like to investigate delivery options on mobile phones for our carriers. And I was like, how hard does this be? I mean, UPS does it, FedEx does it.
Yeah.
All these people do it. It's a no-brainer. I'll just search on an app and find one. Gun. Nope. What you really realize if you're in this business, either newspaper, TMC, you're doing any sort of, product like that where you're delivering, the package delivery and those sort of family of products is just not well suited to this market at all.
Right.
You have the very rare scenario here where the driver, the least amount of time that the driver spends in this whole process is actually delivering the product.
Right.
Whereas UPS and FedEx, Amazon, you stop, you get out of the van, you put it on the thing, you get the signature if required, you take a picture, you get back in the van. Well, the newspaper delivery person has made 5 deliveries in the time that it took you to just get out of the seat. So the really key thing about this solution is that, from the RouteSmart side, we start with an optimized route, then we customize it to the way that the driver or the carrier wants to do it. We pin those locations, get them right where we need them to be, within a few feet. Then in CarrierTrack, they're doing their deliveries. And if you get a carrier who's been doing the same route for many years, they just want to do their route and have it be as unintrusive as possible. And that's what CarrierTrack does. They just want to drive it, have the phone in a holder on their dash, and they just want to hear that, like Wheel of Fortune. They just want to hear the dings as it's going along, as they're making their deliveries, and know that they've made the deliveries. They check it at the end and they're done. It is very, very, very much in the background for them, and that's how they want it. But then you get the down route, or the route that someone has never done before. Or, I say, Jason, here's a phone, go do this route. And Jason's like, I've never done this route. I have no idea where I'm going. You don't need to. So now you have sort of the guide to take you through the process, turn by turn, directions, show me where I'm going, show me where my next turn is, show me where I have to do this. And you can, without exaggeration, send someone out who's never done a route before with their phone and a stack of papers on the passenger seat. Off they go and make the delivery. It's going to take them a little bit longer, sure, but they're going to be able to get that delivery done in a reasonable window and get the papers there on time. And that's why this is like the sort of the Swiss Army knife for us. We can address the scenario of a new driver or a down route, but also not be in the face of a driver who's been doing this for 100 years and knows the route cold. And that really is the beauty of this solution is that we can adapt to any delivery style in any scenario. And with some of the new capabilities that are coming online now, the ability to modify, split, combine, and dispatch routes to the phones as well is really the sort of the holy grail at the end, where we really need that last bit of the last piece of the solution, because as you know, a lot of the dailies have cut back on some of their deliveries, so they may not deliver Saturday, or they may not deliver Monday, or they may only deliver 4 or 5 days a week. Well, the way that the newspaper biz works is to get efficiencies with your carrier fleet is you're delivering other publications. You're delivering New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and they deliver every single day. So you may have your routes all mapped out for your delivery days, but well, wait a sec. What do you do on the days when you don't deliver, but all the third-party pubs do? So that completely takes your route system and flips it on its ear, because now instead of delivering 30,000 papers, you're delivering 4,000 papers. So then, okay, what do I do? Who do I give these to? How many carriers do I need? How many routes will this be? Well, easy. We can take care of that in RouteSmart and send that out to CarrierTrack, and you're in business. We have every tool that we need to accommodate literally any delivery situation.
Yeah. Thanks for touching on where we're going next. That's a nice segue.
Yeah.
Transition.
For those not in the know, we are in beta testing with New Hampshire and at Atlanta Journal-Constitution on the dispatch functionality in RouteSmart to be able to feed in the middle of the night directly to your CarrierTrack device in the field. So as Tod was alluding to there, we are very close to it. We're beta testing. We anticipate rolling it out to all newspapers first of the year. So we're very excited about that. It's been a process we've been working on for quite a while, and truly the first process that RouteSmart and CarrierTrack from a development point of
Right.
view work together.
Right.
That was a beautiful thing to be able to have two different IT departments, really creating and passing information back and forth. How does this work? How's it going to work for you? Looking at any hiccups in the road. We've been doing testing on our own end. I can't tell you how many times I've come in here. Just what you were explaining, Tod. When you go from delivering your daily newspaper with the national titles to just delivering the national titles, it is mind-boggling.
It is.
And I do that testing during the day. So I'm doing that up here using Detroit media routes here in Rochester Hills, right in my hometown. I've been down some streets I never knew existed. I don't
Yep.
know how anybody drives that at night.
Sure.
Yeah.
I am blown away by it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, I do it on Monday and I do it again on Tuesday. It's a completely different route.
It is.
And so when you look at that, and yes, you say you're 100% right. You take that seasoned carrier, they know their route, they know where they're going. They don't need turn by turn direction. It's great to have a map if they have a new start, something on there that they're not familiar with. They can quickly see it on the map. Perfect. Go right back to list mode. Continue with what they're doing.
Yep.
But when all of a sudden you are running a route that doesn't have your dailies on it, if you went down, even if it was just 1 day a week, 2 days a week, the Detroit media runs their daily 3 days a week right now. So you're looking at 4 days without it.
Right.
Those are completely different routes, day in and day out. So even it's almost like your regular route is now an odd route as well,
Yes.
because you're not delivering that 7 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And those are really good points, Jeff. And how for us, luckily, the Union Leader's the only statewide paper. So we publish 7 days a week. We have printed copies 6 days a week, and then Saturday we're digital only.
Right.
But all of, as you said, all of the national pubs are still Saturday. So just to give you an idea, we have, 100 some odd carriers during the week delivering all these papers. And also the other thing with the nationals is, we're only 45 miles north of Boston. So, our area up to Manchester really is in many cases is a suburb of Boston, especially the ones near the border. So we deliver thousands of Boston Globes every day. So that's a big piece. Same with Wall Street Journal, same with New York Times. So when you look at our delivery model on Saturday, we go from 100 or 100 plus carriers to like 15 or 20. So that's, it's like going 60 and then just jamming on the brakes.
Right.
And you almost hit your head on the dashboard. It's such a big change. And then, but now what we were doing with RouteSmart is we would build our Saturday routes, and then we know kind of what we're doing on that. We build those routes and we print either a home delivery route book or a mobile delivery route book, and we give that to the driver. And that's worked out great for us. And that's when you guys remember way back when we said, hey, it would be great if we could take those Saturday routes and instead of printing them, assign those to a driver on their device. And that's what the RouteSmart and CarrierTrack, much to your credit, have done in a very short period of time. And that was the last piece, because now we had 6 days a week and oops, Saturday, we have to print this and you have to, go this way. But now for the third party and national pubs where we're not delivering, we still have all of the same tools, the same auditing, the same tracking and everything that we would expect for a normal delivery day, because now we can do those. We kind of call them soft routes, ones that aren't hard to find routes, but ones that we build on the fly. And this is a huge thing for us, especially since on Saturday you may not have the depth or the breadth of experience for those folks delivering. It may be, the ones who are newer and maybe doing that Saturday delivery, or the ones who volunteer to do that. So the ability to send that also to their phone opens up a whole base of people for us who've never done the routes before, but we don't care. Just take the phone. Here's all your pubs. Off you go. And that was the last piece that we needed.
Yeah. We're excited with the new rollout. Obviously, as we discussed, the beta testing that'll go on the balance of this month into January. Again, we've been through the testing on our end. RouteSmart's tested on their end, but there's never any real test until it's in the newspaper's hands.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
So,
definitely. We're excited about it.
Newspaper's in the subscriber's hand.
Yes,
correct.
exactly.
That's the end game.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
It's fun. I love working with with our technical people, our programmers and stuff, and everybody is always the same mantra here is, it's like, we don't want to be the cause of a misdelivery.
Right.
So I mean, we're developing technology to assist the newspaper. We don't want to make it more difficult, or we don't want to have a glitch in the software that prevents the address from coming up. A prime example, one of the things that you kind of talked about but went over softly on the setup is any address that doesn't geocode inside of RouteSmart. So you have a bunch of addresses and you're processing them through your circ system into RouteSmart, and RouteSmart's geocoding them. If it doesn't geocode, and typically that's because either it's been fat fingered or as you were saying, new subdivisions, they're not in there yet,
right?
And so those have to be manually pinned. And again, going through this process, when I've been doing the testing, I've seen some crazy addresses in the system. one of the most unique ones that it puzzled me so much I just kept digging at it. It was a senior home, resident home.
Yep.
I mean, the resident home has one address and it has multiple units inside of it.
Yep.
The pins were all around this place, but not in the parking lot. Like they were up and down the street, ponds, creeks, all
Yep.
kinds of stuff all over. I'm like, this is just crazy. And
Yep.
again, I keep thinking to myself, I'm doing this in the daytime. I can see the building
Right.
from where I'm at.
Right.
Imagine if you're out there at 2 a.m. What was this?
Right.
And again, the person that has that route knows that that's what goes there. What they were doing was taking the unit number inside the building and using that as the street address.
Mm.
And so it would never come up. That street address doesn't exist. I'm trying Google. I'm trying everything I could think of to find what this street address is. And it finally dawned on me one day. I knew it was that building, but I couldn't figure out. And I went into the building, and that's what I found out was that those numbers were actually unit numbers inside
right.
there. And I'm
Yep.
like, now it makes sense.
Yep.
But again, that's just a matter of cleaning up the file of putting the true street address and then a unit number.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's exactly how it would come. Then RouteSmart would be able to geocode it. It would come into the file sequence properly, and it
Yep.
would still have the unit number in CarrierTrack for that delivery. So
Right.
those are the types of things that when I talk about on our end, we don't want to do anything that could, cut off a portion of an address or prevent in any way that end delivery. So our team is always, even as we go into this beta testing, it's always like they understand this is beta testing, that if there's a glitch, we're not trying to screw up a live route. And we're like, absolutely. I mean, but it's beautiful to see that kind of concern. And I could tell you the same thing just from the initial working with RouteSmart on their end, very similar concerns as they're developing the route and feeding it to us as to what we're going to do with it and how we're going to work with it. They have a beautiful system that they're able to develop all of that and pass it separately without even touching their regular feeds. So it was nice. It was a great learning experience I think for both of us to work together like that. But the end game was really for the newspapers and to be able to put that out there. Down routes are such a huge concern right now. But as you're talking about just delivering the Saturday publication without your daily, I mean, any way you look at it, it's really a similar event. So
it really is. And one of the things too, Jeff, is that you mentioned about the unit number being taken as the street.
Yeah.
The biggest mindset that we had to change, and the thing that we had to just pound and pound and pound on, is CarrierTrack and RouteSmart do not manipulate the data. They take what the circ system gives them. My classic one is it's right in Newsware, but it's wrong in CarrierTrack. Not possible. And we had to pound that home. There only is one source for this data. It's your circ system. If your circ system is wrong or something is up with that address, it's going to get passed through to RouteSmart. 99% of the ungeocoded addresses in RouteSmart are the address is wrong. Like you said, Jeff, fat-fingered. They put the unit number with the street number or something, or it's a new development. That covers 99%.
Right.
And if you can get that data clean on the subscriber side in your circ system, you're almost all the way there in terms of getting a clean feed all the way through.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell people that CarrierTrack's really I call it the magnifying glass. We hear it all the time. CarrierTrack's wrong, and we're like, well, let's look a little deeper. I mean, what it's doing is it's identifying where you have an issue.
Right.
That's what it's doing. CarrierTrack's not wrong. It just found the issue for you, and then as we correct that, together.
Yeah.
Then you get a much smoother run. So CarrierTrack's
Exactly.
going to take you exactly where you asked it to take you.
That's right. And the carriers, their first sense is there's some nefarious person in
Sure.
CarrierTrack
Correct.
who decides one morning, oh, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to play a game on this driver and I'm going to mess this up a little bit. And you guys are all laughing in the background going, oh, watch this guy try to deliver here. No, it's not that way. And sure enough, you didn't have a unit number. The street wasn't called what it is, or you'd smushed it all together. You name it, we've seen it. So once the carriers understand that, they now know to go to the CERC folks, check the address. Let's put eyes on it and see how it's wrong and clean it up. And sure enough, the next day they're ready to go.
Right. And it helps us too, like, with myself going out driving routes and understanding some of the things that the carrier is seeing through CarrierTrack.
Mm.
We come up with new ideas of how we're going to try and develop things differently. One of the ones that's real simple that drove us nuts for a while was the geocodes themselves, rooftop geocodes versus navigational geocodes.
Yep.
And again, simple thing, and RouteSmart will tell you that the rooftops are the best source for developing the sequence. So that's why they use what they use.
That's right.
Now you take a rooftop and put it in CarrierTrack. Now it's trying to turn you down driveways and things of that nature, which you don't want to do. So we looked at that, and again, we said, all right, well, how can we resolve this so it's a better driver experience? And, so we take that sequence file, and now we have a system set up where it checks what the source is of the geocode. And if it's a rooftop geocode, we then change it in our system to a navigational geocode, and it puts it out at the curb, right or left side as it's supposed to be. So it doesn't alter the sequence any, and it puts it at the curb side, which is where the delivery is.
Yep.
Right.
So it's little things like that over time, again, working together and understanding, what the carrier's seeing, because it's not always, it's never always the same thing.
Right.
It's always something different,
Yes, exactly.
But those things that are consistent like that, we look for solutions and working together, we're always able to find that solution that works best for all.
Agreed.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right. How about any closing remarks to newspapers that are considering, looking for a solution like this, or how about those that aren't?
Yeah. Well, I think the bottom line here is that the natural reaction from a paper, especially, there is no paper anywhere that is awash in cash. It's not a thing. And the papers are evolving. They're trying to bring on printed and digital subscribers and increase the mix of digital, but the home delivery is here to stay. And we've had adjustments and the ship has tilted a little, but that is still the main goal. And I guess the thing I leave you with is, for a paper, is, oh, we can't afford to do this. No, you can't afford not to do this, because we can take you through the models that we have gone through ourselves and show you how you can save money on lost customers, complaints, make goods, redeliveries, to say nothing of paper costs with bundle tops, printed route lists, and all that. Our costs dropped $11,000 a year in paper costs just by implementing this system. And if with our financial folks show us that the average ROI for a paper is usually somewhere right around a year, and after the year, you've paid for everything and you're off and running now. And the savings that you're going to see every month, this is going to be like taking your subscriber base and increasing it by 10%. not by adding more revenue, but by driving your costs down. And that is, with the paper, if you're not adding subscribers, you better be driving your costs down. We look at every nickel, every route, every single penny we look at to see where we can save money. And the bottom line in this is a no-brainer. It's a bunch of heavy lifting at the beginning, but about 90 days in now, you're good to go. And you're going to start reaping the benefits of this whole delivery system. And not to mention, you can then overlay all sorts of other things that you want to do with the drivers on that mobile device. You now have a mobile device in the hand of your drivers. We are using that for their mileage tracking, so they get paid for their mileage, their time cards. All that is now done on the phone as well. So that driver with the phone has all the tools that they need, not only to do the delivery, but from a HR perspective to do all of our timesheets and delivery, request time off, view schedules. All that is now done on the phone. So that's sort of like, the bonus fry at the bottom of the McDonald's bag. You think you're done, and then, oh boy, there's one or two left at the bottom.
They're always good.
And they're always good. It's always the perfect one that fell out of the top. And that's what you get with this. You get all of the things that you paid for, but there are so many other costs, and we can help papers with that are nested in there that just melt away when you do this kind of system. So, always the papers, oh, I can't afford this. We're tight. Well, the reason you're tight is because you don't have this, and we can free up a lot of cash for you. And it's not thousands of dollars a year. It's tens of thousands of dollars a year, and multiple tens of thousands depending on the size of the organization. So you're going to save a pile of money doing this, and you're going to have much happier customers, bottom line.
And just for clarity, when you started this, you didn't have RouteSmart or CarrierTrack.
We had nothing. Yeah. Zero. We had nothing.
You had the idea. I mean,
Right.
Jeff mentioned it. We'd been talking. Hey, you think people would buy this? You think they think there's money to be saved? And then I should print it out and have it put on a poster. But you sent an email. We had a conversation. You called me and said, I'm looking for this thing. I've looked everywhere, can't find it. And you sent me an email with, I believe it was 15 items.
Yes, correct.
1, 2, 3. And I sent it immediately to Jeff, and I go, I think Tod is asking for what we think we can sell.
That's
and
right.
From there, here we are.
Yep.
It was like the epiphany. It was like, boom.
Yes. And I still have your reply, Jeff. I mean, Jason, you said, yep, we have this, we have this, we have this. We're working on this. We think we have this. We're going to do this very soon. And then he said, let me get back to you. And then a few weeks later, we started talking. And then, the good news with this whole product and this whole setup is the three of us and our organizations have put in 2 years of very hard work to get to this point.
Yeah.
And now a paper can just waltz in and within 90 days be up and running when we've been through this whole development cycle and this whole process.
Yeah.
But the great news for the paper is you implement this solution, and all of every scenario, all of the heavy lifting that is all done for you.
Yep.
This is just, it's like a house and you just add water and it just grows and it's done. And that's all you got to do. You just basically all you have to do is show up.
Yep.
Yeah. And we will grow with you. So I think you've heard that through this, season 1, episode 1 pilot podcast, right?
Yep. Right.
But, I could tell you, as we touched on, we will be launching the dispatch functionality from RouteSmart live onto CarrierTrack for all newspapers first quarter of this year. We have already developed a lot of the components that newspapers would need if they're going to get into the parcel delivery business. We've got the barcode scanner, already set into the device. We got signature capture. We've always had photo capture. That's always been there.
Yeah.
So, as newspapers look at getting into last mile delivery for parcels, we're there. And going back to what Tod said earlier about single copy, you could integrate that parcel package right in with your newspaper delivery if that's your decision. You could deliver parcels separately from newspapers. It doesn't matter. CarrierTrack would handle both for you. So we're here to grow with newspapers. Our goal is to extend that runway, make this a long-term delivery solution. For newspapers, we expect that newspapers will be in the distribution business forever. We're not looking at this as a limited, short-ended runway. We could only land small planes. So we're certainly building for that future, and we're building for a future that newspapers are part of.
Yeah, agreed. Well said.
So, Jason, any closing comments?
I first of all, thanks for having me, Tod. Great to see you as always. I'm going to go back to two things Tod said. You know how sometimes somebody's talking and something just gets in your ear, and you go, "Ooh, that could either be a password or a band name." Well, I picked up on two that Tod was talking about. He used the phrase "timid toward technology." Now that's a band name if I've ever heard one. Right
there, you go. Yeah.
So you take your folks who are timid toward technology, get them using CarrierTrack, off they go. The other one he said it with such a perfect tone. He said, "And then you get the down route." So there you go. And then you get the down route. What a great band name. So
yes, right.
While those two things, those statements in and of themselves have a negative connotation, you've taken both of those and spun them in a way that now it's not a big deal anymore. It's a blip. It's a bump in the road. At the end of the day, the subscribers, still getting their newspaper. So great stuff. Really excited about both the dispatching, about the parcel stuff. The partnership between RouteSmart and CarrierTrack has just grown, and a lot of that is directly attributable to Tod and the union leader. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys have really changed our business in such a dramatic way. It will never be the same in a good way.
Great.
Well, I look forward to 2022. Our hashtag RouteSmart and CarrierTrack, better together.
Yeah.
We certainly plan to expand on that, in the coming year. With that, I wish you all the best of holidays, and certainly keep the less fortunate in your prayers through this time, including extra prayers for all of the families and children affected with the shooting in Oxford High School this past week. So it's going to be a tough Christmas for them.
Definitely.
For sure.
Again, it was a great first episode. I look forward to season 1, episode 2.
Yeah, sounds great, guys.
Yeah, we'll call
coming soon.
So this was the pilot. That'll be episode 2, the bonus fry. That was the other one.
There we go. The bonus fry found in the bottom of the bag.
There you go. So,
I love it. All right, guys. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.